everyone. My name is Starr Rath and I'm the pastor at Faith Lutheran Church in Port Elgin, Ontario, Canada. Each week I bring you a story that takes about 5 minutes to watch. Some of them are funny, some of them are will just give you something to think about. And so this is an amazing story today, and it's written by January Joyce. It's called The Letter, and it's in a book called Kindness Matters by Amy Newark. That afternoon, I had a bazillion errands to run before I returned home, made dinner, and got myself ready for the night shift. First stop I needed to make was my mobile phone store. That infuriating contraption had no buttons, and I couldn't figure out how to download apps or find music. Luckily, Carlos, the nice young man who sold me the device, stood behind the counter assisting a gentleman. Carlos was quick and efficient, so I knew the wait wouldn't be too long. Within seconds, an elderly lady hoisted her walker onto the sidewalk out front. Without saying anything, Carlos hopped over the counter, dashed around the store, opened the door, and helped her inside. The lady sat next to me as Carlos returned to his first customer. Apparently, the poor guy had missed a lot of work because his wife had been hospitalized with cancer. I don't know how he did it, but Carlos made a call and got his late fees dropped and a 45-day extension on his payment. I sat there feeling grateful and pretending I couldn't hear everything that was going on. As the man thanked Carlos with a tear trickling from his eye, Carlos consoled him with kind words and a pat on the shoulder. A few seconds later, that poor guy walked out of the store, visibly renewed. Carlos initiated my download and then went about chatting with the lady with the walker. Surprisingly, she was there to bring Carlos some cookies for being so nice to her the previous day. Just then, an entire family entered the store, followed by an impatient young man in an NFL jersey. Carlos welcomed them inside, invited them to check out the displays, and assured them he wouldn't be long to wait. The young man broke into a chuckle when Carlos referenced a popular trope about his beloved team. I was in the store only 10 minutes, I'm sure of it. I checked the time when I parked and checked the time when I drove off, and in the small amount of time, I'd seen so much humility, consideration, and charm. That night at work, I kept thinking about Carlos and how he had called each customer by name and how he made everyone feel like family. Carlos was a salesman, but he wasn't pushing a financial agenda as much as making us feel valued. I couldn't get over his kindness. The next day, I positioned myself in front of my keyboard and drafted a nice letter to Carlos's boss. I thought his boss would be interested to know how Carlos treated people and how it represents their store. Since I took my time and did a pretty good job, I decided to mail copies to their local headquarters, their state headquarters, and why the heck not, the CEO who ran the whole shebang. A couple of months later, I zigged when I should have zagged. While at the gym, I attempted to open my music app and deleted the darn thing instead. I was mad at myself and my fumbling fingers, fat fingers. No worry though. I figured I'll pop by the phone store and see if I can find Carlos and get him to reinstall the app. But when I entered the store, there was a mile-long line and no Carlos. I waited an eternity as the overwhelmed woman behind the counter assisted customers. When it was my turn, I explained my problem. She shook her head and scowled. "Sorry, that's really not my job," she stated, "but I'll do it this once because you waited so long." "I don't see Carlos," I mentioned as she turned on my phone. "Is he off today?" "Carlos? Carlos doesn't work here anymore." "Oh, why?" My heart skipped. "Did something happen?" "Oh, someone wrote a letter and—" "What?" I gasped. I shrank two sizes as my intestines slithered into my gym shorts. Had I said something that got Carlos fired? Corporate liked the letter, so they promoted him and gave him his own store. Can you believe it? His own store. Lucky brat. I've been here for 5 years and they haven't given me anything. And she handed me my phone. Thank you very much, I said, and then I turned to walk out. Good for him, I guess, she called to me, because his wife just is having their first baby. Yay, I nodded as I floated toward the door. Good for him. Written by a person by the name of January Joyce. Isn't that wonderful that she took the time to write a letter of thanks to the bosses? That's a great, great story, something we can learn. Maybe we should do that for someone too, as we find people who really are wonderful to us and help us in our way on this life. So, thanks for taking 5, and blessings on your day.